Hi, I'm Yosef Solomon and this is Tikun's Purim message. Purim is a festival which is replete with many mitzvahs, from giving gifts to the poor, prayers of thanksgiving, feasting, getting a little bit inebriated. It's a great day. It's a day that brings unity into our communities, a day which helps us focus and literally stepping out of our own self-centeredness. Now, one of the mitzvahs of the day is to hear the Megillah. Megillah's Esther, the scroll of Esther, which tells us the whole story of what happened in Shushan those 2,005 years ago, of how the evil Haman had plotted to destroy an entire Jewish nation, man, woman and child. Now, sadly, anti-Semitism and genocide are not new concepts to our people, but what makes this time different was the reason that our enemy hated us. If you look into the Megillah, it says clearly that Haman wanted to destroy us as a reaction to a seemingly petty incident, Mordechai's refusal to bow down to him like everyone else. Now, the sages of that period of time, and for centuries later, questioned Mordechai's refusal to bow down. Didn't he realize that this was going to aggravate an already aggressive and powerful enemy? As their leader, didn't he wasn't it foolish to risk the entire Jewish nation? Why not just bow down like everybody else? Especially since the world power of that time, King Ahasuerus himself, was the one who gave the decree to bow down to Mordechai. It's interesting that it's actually an inconsistency in the grammar of the text that will reveal the answer. You see, instead of speaking in past tense and saying Mordechai lo kara v'lo ishtachave, that Mordechai did not bow and did not prostrate himself, instead, unlike any other word in that section of the text, it says that Mordechai lo yichra v'lo yishtachave in the future tense. Our sages say don't take this little change lightly, because through it we see not only Mordechai's actions, but we see his intentions, his convictions. Mordechai's decision not to bow to Haman was not a reckless quirk. It wasn't just an impulsive thing that he decided to do in the moment. It was planned, it was purposeful, and it was meaningful. A deeper look into the genealogy of both Haman and Mordechai will reveal the reason why. Haman is called Ha'agagi, meaning he's a descendant of Agag, the Amalekite king conquered by Shaul HaMelech. Amalek is that nation which stands as the enemy of the Jewish people and God himself. They stand for a world immoral, full of doubt, meaningless and dark, a godless world. The battle that we have between them and us is literally the battle, the conflict between good and evil. Mordechai, on the other hand, is from the tribe of Binyamin, the tribe of Benjamin, in whose ancestral territory in the land of Israel the Holy Temple once stood. That means that the divine presence rested in his territory. More than that, out of all of Yaakov Avinu, of our father Jacob's 12 sons, the 12 tribes, Binyamin was the only one not to bow down to Esau when we came back into the land of Israel. What this means is that besides being in his spiritual genes, it's in Mordechai's soul. To not bow down to Haman was not a question of ego, of personal ego. It was a question of values. To not bow down to Haman was not a political move. It wasn't pragmatic. Rather, it was a sense of being true to the spiritual dignity, to the godliness inside of him. It was knowing that he had to be loyal to his convictions and true to his own inner wisdom, his own inner self, even against the overriding and all-powerful onslaught of the majority around him. Now, this lesson has probably never been more true than in this time now, because we live in a world of relative morality. We live in a world of compromise, where the media, and sometimes even our own circle of friends, create a social pressure which defines how apparently we should behave. Now, if we don't have the independence, like Mordechai, to stand up against the external even majority, we're just going to crumble. We're just going to succumb to values which are not our own. Rather, what we need to do is get in touch with our own personal dignity, just like Mordechai, our own inner sense of values and wisdom, and stand up and do not bow and do not prostrate ourselves even against the pressure. Now, as lonely as this sometimes is, and as difficult as it sometimes is, as risky perhaps as it is, Succumbing in the moment may be a relief then, but ultimately destroys us. And this is also true in the internal battle that we face on a daily basis. The battle between our body and our soul. The conflict that we feel between our yearning for greatness and our urge down to, animalistic comfort. If we want to really do what we want to do, and not just what we feel like, we must resist. We cannot bow down to the pressure, to the external pressure that we feel. Knowing that we are a body and a soul is not just a lofty idea. It should raise us up to a level of dignity that we will find the inner strength to not succumb, to not bow down, to not do the things which are against our values. So this Purim, be a Mordechai. After everything is, come clear, what's happening behind the scenes, after all the masks have fallen away, be true to who you really are. Follow your values. Don't bow down. Don't succumb to the pressure. Stand strong and be you. Happy Purim from Tikun.